The protesters who showed up on January 6th at Capitol Hill, the vast majority of them were standing up for democracy because what they observed was a fraudulent election. And a fraudulent election is a very big deal. I mean, that's as basic to a democracy as you can get. And that's what they were there for. They were largely peaceful. I've seen videos of the thing, China Uncensored. You just go to China. The guy who used to do China Uncensored is now doing, I think, America Uncensored. He wandered around. They were the normal sort of fruitcake American, liberal in behavior. People a little, maybe a bit flag waving or whatever. They were there thinking that they were doing a good thing because they agree that every citizen's vote should count, and if people's votes counted whose votes shouldn't have counted, that took away the impact of a voter's count, of a count of a voter. You know what I mean. Surely that couldn't require much explanation. And 95% of them were just having a good time, thinking that they're doing the right thing, protesting a corrupt, fraudulent election, and were heroes. And a lot of the people who, not all, a lot of people, but a lot of the people that were involved in organizing the actual violence were FBI agents or informants for FBI agents. And the amount of this sort of behavior that the FBI is involved in is astounding. So just try to get this straight. I think I've said this now maybe 15 times. But the violence was organized and instigated by FBI operatives who wanted to prevent the 100 congressmen, 6 senators, various people who wanted to discuss whether or not the election was fraudulent, which they knew that it was. And there was an unfortunate bit of violence there, not so unusual for the United States, but obviously it happened in a symbolic location. Why it would be symbolic to people who don't appreciate the United States or any of the democratic values that the United States is supposed to represent is anybody's guess. But they had a big moan over that, obviously, and freaked out, and wouldn't let you compare it to Black Lives Matter violence or Antifa or anything like that. Okay, so having established that, there are people who would say, well, yeah, but we had to get rid of Trump, so if it was a fraudulent election, that's okay. I don't happen to agree with that. But what I would do is I would invite people who would think that a fraudulent election was okay for getting rid of Trump should take the time to consider what Trump actually did. And I've been doing this over and over again, but it takes a while, right? You need to hear it a number of times, probably from different perspectives other than mine. Barnes and Frey in Canada. You've got Viva Frey talking to a guy named Barnes, another lawyer in the United States. He explains it better probably than anybody on the planet. And just go to YouTube. I get all my information from YouTube. So people who are saying that Google is involved in censorship of right-wing ideas, they've got a problem there from my point of view, because obviously I'm, I guess what they would call right-leaning, whatever that's supposed to mean. I guess right-leaning now is a person who believes in free and fair elections, freedom of speech, the dignity of the individual. Free and fair elections, said that already, the right to a fair trial, equality of opportunity, etc. I'm a right-winger. Like a lot of right-wingers, I'm surprisingly social, you could say. Anyway, so just to get through what Trump did, the positives that he did. If you think it's okay to defraud the American people, to kick him out because he was so bad, You need to be able to say what he did that was good. It's called steel manning. How many of the people, how many times have you visited the ethics? No, it's the wrong line. How many of the people who repeat the line that unfounded accusations of voter fraud, how many of them could say anything that good that Trump said, or who say there wasn't, or who believe that it was fraudulent but they're okay with it, know what Trump did? So that's quite a long send up. I got 15 minutes on these things. Here's what Trump did. When he took office from Obama, Obama told him that there was likely to be a nuclear war between Korea and the United States, and that Obama didn't know how to deal with it. And as much as he probably disliked, but was affectionate towards Donald Trump. I heard Biden the other day, that somebody mentioned Biden is pervert and senile. And he used to be surprisingly smart. Like, if you listen to the way that he spoke, I would recommend a conversation with Thomas Sowell, Thomas, Sowell, Sowell. Thomas Sowell's brilliant. Biden and Thomas Sowell, nice, so nice. Biden's a old school racist, old school pervert, and now he's senile and the most unpopular politician in United States history, I suppose, is set up to take his place. Radical nut lefty who screwed up on the border big time. I think that maybe what's going to happen is that Joe Biden's wife is going to take the presidency. See, I thought that it was automatic. The vice president would automatically, but I guess it's not automatic. I think that Biden and them are trying to make her look bad so that they can boot her when Biden finally blows a gasket. Like with Cuomo. Cuomo, another Democrat, asshole, pervert, lying piece of shit governor of New York State. They're saying it already. Well, okay, we knew he was abusive towards women. Kind of a Democrat thing. And a hypocritical thing. Eventually, these accusations are going to be made against Biden, and they're going to be true. And it's on video, smelling the little girl's hair. He flirts with every woman he meets. So when he met Boris Johnson, the first thing is, yeah, I'm good to meet you. I heard about your wife. Really, I'm looking forward to meet your wife. But he's absolutely bizarre human being. Which brings us back around to what Trump did. Who's to say? But it's likely that he averted a nuclear war with North Korea. Kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. The Middle East peace thing that he brought, how many decades have been here? They will never get peace in the Middle East. Well, a lot of people feel that he brought it, and he did it so simply. What he did was he brought the Middle East together to say, look, the Palestinians are too much trouble. Let's just agree they're too much trouble. Then we can get along with the Israelis, who have an extraordinary military arsenal and aren't going away anywhere. And they're an ethno-state. Jews are a race of people. They've maintained the race. So to say that Israel's an ethno-state, of course it's an ethno-state. Most states are ethno-states. Japan is an ethno-state. China is an ethno-state. The idea that you can have a state based on principle is only a couple hundred years old. And it only happens in Western countries. Okay, so all very complicated, but North Korea, Middle East peace, 2 Nobel Prize nominations. Southern border, he had that pretty much under control. He had border wall, going to get Mexico to pay for it. Donald Trump is what you call a bullshitter. a bullshitter and a liar are pretty difficult to distinguish, especially when they're bullshitting all the time. But he meant what he said about China. He dealt with Rocket Boy. He brought peace to the Middle East that the Democrats have already blown. He controlled the southern border. His whole thing really now is to explain how critical race theory is eating at the very fabric of Western civilization. It's a profound evil and needs to be pointed out. Everybody's onto this now. He nailed Antifa. He nailed BLM. He increased wages for people of color. I think that he's coming back. He's wanting to call it a multicultural workers' party. It's almost like he's a communist. Yeah, it's all about he's a narcissist, and it's about expanding his power, and he didn't pay taxes, and he doesn't care about anybody. He cares about the United States. Even narcissists can love something. He loves the United States. North Korea, Middle East, Southern Border, CRT, Antifa, BLM, increased wages, stimulated the economy, borrowed too much money to do it. Energy independence for the United States. They didn't have to borrow money from, they didn't have to buy oil from people that want to destroy the United States. And reduce CO2. I doubt that he had much to do with reducing CO2 emissions, but he walked away from Paris climate change. I think the United States is the only country that reduced CO2 emissions. Energy independence. We nationalists like to be independent. India, China, Japan, military coalition to stand up to China. NATO paid their bills. Him and Rudy's essentially saved New York. Trump, in his egotistical manner, made it the big deal that it is, right? We're going to, this totally demented city of crime and debt and all this shit that was happening in New York in the 70s coming back now. But he got the idea, yeah, you can have a great city if you just get rich people to move back in. And Rudy Giuliani dealt with the mob. Isn't that amazing? I mean, think about that. You got these little pissants around now saying that Rudy Giuliani is such a retard and such an idiot, and he looks ridiculous. And he took on the mob. Rudy Giuliani took on the mob. Listen to the mobsters. I'll tell you who did their wagon in. It was Rudy Giuliani, largely, and a lot of people behind him. There's a lot of people behind all of this. He called out the election fraud. He nailed it from the beginning. He said it was going to happen from the beginning. It was obvious it was going to happen. It did happen. I've only got a minute and 45 seconds. Fought for the working class. Gave them pride. Took hostile questions. I think he enjoyed it. He enjoyed saying, you guys lied about the Russian collusion thing. I didn't pay Russian prostitutes to piss in my bed. That's a story the FBI made up. The FBI is so corrupt. Reduced regulations for business. Stimulated the economy. There's a collective interest in ensuring that businesses protect the environment. Sometimes you need a collective effort to ensure things. It's not like I'm arguing that a collective has no purpose or meaning. Obviously, that would be ridiculous. But and he predicted that he would have the COVID vaccine within a good period of time, and he had it. All hail the chief. No, that's it. Heil Hitler. Trump is not Hitler. I am not Hitler. You fuckers at Antifa are Hitlerian.